No need, sit there. Sit there, no need. It's okay? When you are ready, tell me, okay? When you're ready, tell me. Huh? Yura said not. Translators are not ready. Tell me, ready? Russian may be not ready because today senior is working. Okay. Now the internet is kind of works, and works. Sure. Works? It works. Yes or no? Okay. Now it's the internet is come back. In Belgium there is some internet is problems. Sorry for you disturb. My mouth in the internet doesn't work now. Now they are like fighting with earphones. It works? Questions maybe later. And then there's you make a copy or something, no? Okay. It's ready or not? No, but you didn't give me sign, working. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is, I don't know, I a little bit interrupt my mind. I'm going to book, it says that inspired yourself with the story of the Buddhas of past and future. All your attachment, money, and the properties. And of course, sometimes we have very strong attachment to the money, properties. And also it's like sometimes we have attachment to this world, these appearances in this life. And of course, a little bit to reduce this attachment clinging to in this world. And maybe you can to read the history, biography of the ancient great human beings. We say it's like Buddhas. The meaning of the Buddhas, it is like kind of some great human beings, and they are worldly, they haven't got position, they haven't got any kind of belonging much, nor title, nor something. But they are like kind of, looks like homeless, and they haven't got properly shelter, properly food, but their mind is extremely happy. They are happy mind in this life, and also they have a happy continue in the futures. And this kind of, they are reached extraordinary enrichment, realized something in their own qualities. Maybe now it's like we make ourselves like kind of altruism, like kind of make ourselves to make inspire, and to become like a Buddha and Bodhisattvas, and those great human beings. In the fundamentally, Buddha and sentient beings, there's not different. We have the same potential. And then it's like the bird. Someone is very much kind of lazy, hesitated, very much the direction of the negative path. And then we call the samsaric human beings, samsaric sentient beings. Someone is like a kind of like all the time is very much careful and more follow the positive path, and more to study, more to understand the situations. Then it's when the mind is more clearly, mind become more peace, mind is become more kind, compassionate. Then such in the mind has quality, realization, educations. And then it's like you can make happy yourself, you can make happy to others. There's such a kind of wonderful occurring that maybe we need to quickly to have. Life on what you find like the breeds. The bird, like the birds, and devoted yourself entirely to the practice of the dharmas. Yesterday this we stopped until there. And like a kind of, it's like to be the, we need nest. And sometimes we are very much liberated, like to develop our human bird's nest. And like kind of the, like inside very much to leisure, or like kind of a gorgeous. And this kind of to make whole life is spent for this sort of to find. But reality, our nest, where you live, where you have shelter, position, families, are the really like the burst nest. And this one is like it's impermanent, and it is like a sensitivity, fragile, and quickly disappeared. We don't know. We already analyze a lot belonging to our position, wealth, status, so on, so on, so on, so on, so on. So on. And to like a kind of the whatever, you have simple life. Not rich, not poor. Some middle one we have. It's a wonderful. Maybe you don't become thirsty, you don't become hungry. And in these situations, maybe more focus on practice Dharma, to study Dharma. That means we need to more give education to our minds to make free from the disturbing emotion, anger, hatred, challenge, disattachment, and craving, ignorant. And mind to make more sharp, mind to make to understandable, and mind needed to give education. That is like kind of the entirely to study Dharma, meditate on the Dharma, practice the Dharma, and contemplating the Dharma. Reality, the meaning of the Dharma is the like your body, speech, mind. And the explanation of your body, speech, mind, this we call the teaching of the Dharma. The meaning of the Dharma, sometimes is the phenomena, sometimes it's like kind of to make soft. Which kind of tools to make soft, kindness, and it's extraordinary, or the superiorities, or superiorities, I don't know, superiors. And this Dharma can make like this. When we honestly to look at the teaching of the Buddhas, basically it's talking about compassion. And then there is a branch, leaves, we call the teaching of the commentary. And more there is a different sutta, first teaching, second teaching, third teaching, we call the three wheel of the Dharmas. Each perspective, each moment, each sentences in the teaching of the Buddhas connect to the compassions. And also these compassions, not really kind of any kind of compassion, partiality compassion, biased compassion, kind of compassion, not like this. Really it's a transparent compassion, tolerant compassion, impartial compassion, and it's like kind of everything is included in these compassions. And there's nothing kind of excluded. Then this is we call the mind of the enlightenment. And this kind of the attitude concerning and like kind of the thoughts, and we call the compassion extraordinary. We can to say it's like why it is extraordinary, why it is become important. Yes, it is important. We were really too serious to look. When we sometimes say that these human beings are very wonderful, kindness, compassion, extraordinary. Everybody follow, everybody respect, everybody. Why? Because this person's mind. Maybe reality this person's not rich. Maybe reality this person's not powerful. Maybe this person is not kind of the handsome or beautiful. But this person has a very, very good-hearted, warm-hearted, compassion, kindness, very simple, all the times their contentment, satisfaction, and like this. Then people love. It's like when you be with this kind of person to make atmosphere wonderful. If you provoke, if you kind of make disturb, and also whatever you do, it's of course, it's all the times to showing the positive aspect. You know, we say it's like someone's show to you very aggressively, but reply smiling and kind of the palm like this. Even someone says like, I want to chop your head, and yes, please, you can do it. This sort of we call the holiness, bodhisattvas. We call the like kind of the superiors, the human beings. Why these human beings become like this? Because of the mind. And if we come to mind is a fantastic, then bodies become fantastic, and the verbs become fantastic. In Tibetan translations, compassion is the beautiful mind. Like a beautiful mind. If you have a beautiful mind, and then everything is become the beautiful. Maybe externally you are poor, you are kind of the ugly. Maybe you are weak, you kind of the like almost homeless. But if you have a good heart, like everybody's perspective, you are beautiful. And I remember this in my village, there is this one girl, she's most ugly maybe in this world. I'm often told to you. And then this parents says like, maybe we are worried, maybe when she is grow up, it's difficult to find partners. But she is like fundamentally, or like kind of the dynamically, it's a very wonderful lady, and she respects to parents and to in the family situation. She take care brothers, sisters, all the time peace, and she take care neighborhood, and she work very hard like this. She's more grow up. It's like everybody's talking about her. Everybody's love her very, very much. And the kind of that there's nothing problems, any kind of the partner she can to find. Rich and handsome, any kind of they are want to find this sort of. It is the truth. We look in our human societies. Many people difficult to find some partner of families. Why? Because everybody is afraid. First time it's like a seem or looks like very kind, looks like handsome, beautiful, smart, charming. But maybe reality is not. And maybe inside you have like kind of manipulation, cheating, and aggressive, unkindness. Then what is the beauty? What is the rich? What is is externally something? Nothing valuable. The finally is a hell is coming. And I remember in my village, there is a beautiful woman. She is extreme famous, but aggressive, very much challenge, emotional. And of course, the beginning is like coding something body. Maybe it's like there's many rich businesses, but few months, few years, bye-bye. Finally, no partner, no family, and it's someone's to player and coming to say, yeah, but just to play, it is like kind of very funny. To be close, no, I don't want everybody to say like this. Then finally, you got like leprosy. And later, she died. I know everybody's talking. She is all the time begging for the food. She lost her nose and something. And then finally, beauty is never valuable. Nothing there is. But compassionate, make it beautiful externally. Compassion is to make beautiful inside. Inner you have the compassions. And even you become more healthy inside, more kind of protect to yourself for any kind of spiritual spirit, hindrance, obstacles. And like this, it's like in the Dharma, it's main as talking about the compassion. Then why not? We don't to study Dharma. I like it very much. In the Buddha's teachings, never ever talking that is bad, you need to distort. Or that is you need to get rid of. Buddha's teaching says you need to thinking about everything, entirely sentient beings. They are like your parents, they are like children, they are like your partner, they are like your dear. They are very kind. You should to think all entirely sentient beings. And this makes me so much happy. All the frame of the Buddha's teaching is the compassion. Compassion is the frame of all the teaching of the Buddhas. Then there is many different commentaries, the Buddha's teachings. All those teachings is connected to the compassion. Dharma practice, and any kind of, if you follow up the sadhana, if you follow up the exercise, like kind of the bindu, channel, pranas, or any kind of exercise, if you study the Dharma, if you reflect on the Dharma, if you meditate on Dharma, everything is connected to the impartial compassion and bodhicitta. That is wonderful. If you have compassion, bodhicitta, you are superiors. You are the source of the refuge for other sentient beings, and therefore practice dharmas. And also it's like practice dharma means it's the talking about your body, speech, mind. And all the Buddha's teachings, principally the compassion, then there is the wisdom aspect. We call the view of the empty aspects. It's a kind of just this is the for instance or the example. And it's like kind of this is not nothingness. We use this terminology of the emptiness. But reality is the essence mind is go beyond the empty or not empty. And you cannot to describe, you cannot to express, you cannot to. That is the you say, that is the very difficult. No difficult. We are living presently in this state. And these situations, now, right now. For example, where do you live? Where you come from? Where are you going to which kind of would you like to show is there? But just like kind of the essence nature realities comes from that, budding there, dissolves that. That ones who can to show the color, dimension. And when you more to research, to reason, inconceivable these things happen. If you understand that one is wonderful. It's bring to our mind peace, totally peace. Because like the essence, nature of the phenomenon is a very peace. It's not samsara, not nirvana, not suffering, not kind of the temporary pleasures. It's go beyond that. And everything in this perspective is like equanimity, something. Therefore, on the movement, luminous aspect of the compassion, and there is a nature of the phenomenon's perspective. The explanation of the Dharma is a wonderful Buddha's teachings. Therefore, entirely to practice of the Dharma may be very important. But of course, maybe sometimes you say, not important. And instead to practice Dharma, rather I want to drink coffee, play football match, take drug, alcohol. I would like to that. Okay, you can do it. Why not? Democratic. But if you are not destroyed yourself, then you do. And if someone says, no, I want to practice Dharma, then yes, please to do it. Maybe you become the more authentic, more good person. Maybe everybody follow you. Everybody respect you. Everybody prostrating to you. Because your compassion is shining out, wisdom is shining out, and then everybody received kind of benefit, like you become the sun. You know, sun is light, is very shine coming. Of course, there is sometimes people receiver of the sentient beings or the vegetations. They have some unluckily, sometimes a cover of the cloud and something problems there is. But sun itself is there's impartially to shine. And so when some light is coming, it is the wonderful. It is like kind of we can go outside, say thank you, and appreciate it. Like this sunlight is wonderful. Therefore, your light, your radiation, your lucidity, your like kind of luminosity, compassionate luminosity shine out. Whoever received this one, they can to like a luminosity bathing, I would to say, and your compassionate like a luminosity they can to bathe. And we say it's like I'm like to cool peace under your compassionate. This is the truth, and like this. But this is like wonderful. If you practice Dharma seriously, you become the wonderful to others. Of course, if you don't want like this opposite, you want to the samsaric ways, your is like kind of luminosity is more cool, freeze, and like kind of like dark. It's not very much pleasant. Who can to bathing to your luminosity, ugly luminosity, and then it's like there's not very much kind of like this. We would to say it's like, I may take example. The example is maybe good or bad. If we can say to go to the 2 restaurants, maybe one restaurant is like a very rich, very plenty food, maybe, but all of this food is contaminated. Maybe it's like a chair is made of gold, and table is made of silver. All the forks, knives is made silver. But looks like the food is very attractive. Looks like, but everything is maybe contaminated. And also you go to their service is very, very aggressive, arrogant. Why? Because we are a superior restaurant. You want to eat, you don't want, you can do whatever you. But if we look at the food, so nice. Let's go to theirs. But atmosphere is not very good. But with the attractive contaminated food and this like kind of charming table, charming chair, charming like kind of tools, everything. So we are shaking. Maybe there's nearby there's one restaurant, very simple restaurant. Maybe the food is there is not very much, not attractive. Everything's organic. And everything is like not very much tasted, but very healthy. And inside the service is very kind and say welcome. And also the chairs, forks, everything is made maybe wood, very simple. But it's like, then it's which one would you like to? Maybe someone's go to this simple, not like the very atmosphere is wonderful. And the service very kind, no kind of the very respect. But it's a cozy, it's like kind of, you as much as you eat the meal food, very good, because organic. But other ones you go to there, very arrogantly you eat, food is contaminated. They just say, what would you like? And they serve us to you, but maybe when you eating time is very delicious, look like superiorities, I don't know. But then finally, I need toilet, I'm headache, oh, I ate this once, 2 days, I'm sick. And then we are searching medicine, hospitals. Like this. Exactly, some practitioners practice Dharma. This human being's life is very simple and not much rich, and they have very simple food, they simple clothes, simple teeth, but they are very kind. They are really respect. They are very wonderful. And maybe when you go to inside, there's not a kind of a lecture or the gorge, but very pleasant. But it's a samsaric, someone is not practiced Dharma, maybe trillionaires, billionaires. I was once, one is like some rich family in Europe, noble family, okay? I don't know. But they invited me. And husbands need to get permission in order to invite me to there. And then husbands got permission from wife. And 1 month he needed to request to. And then he said, now I got the permission, can you come? And I said, yes, of course. And we went there, and then we entered, wow, so extreme house, maison. A grand maison. And magnifique maison. Maison's very nice. When I enter, of course, I need to take out the shoes, and then, of course, she's very much welcome. Say, welcome to sit there. Have you been in this kind of like house? No, never. I'm kind of, don't nervous. It's okay. This is kind of normal our lives. Okay. And everything is like on the table. It's like difficult to touch. There's 3 pellets. And there is like kind of the 3 knife, 3 forks, and one is there is a spoon, like the spoon, and then it's like starts. Then the service is coming, and then the service, and then it's like he often to say it's like, you don't need to nervous. In Tibet you haven't got this kind of, you never been. Never. It's your house is really amazing. She become more like kind of, it's like this. And then it's like, but it's a first pellet. It's like first knife, first forks, and the first like kind of the start. And then it's like first there's small things they put, and then they finish it, they take away, and then soup, and it finish. And the middle there is like a middle one, I think it's like for the main course, and the last one is like more dessert or something like this. But it's I'm really not sure I was happy, very much nervous, and like I needed to sit like this. And like 1 hour or 2 hours. And when I talk, I need to be very serious. And also I need to, I can feel like this. But it's okay. And inside, immediately, I need to run, go home. And then it says, thank you very much, very nice, you're wonderful, I appreciate your invite. And then I need to go home. And come back. My house. Or it's like, of course, this is the ugly, but it's like just free, lying down, kind of the free. And next time there's one student invited to me, and a very small house, and but there's a kind of the maybe few books and something. It's a little sad, different gap there is, but maybe this student is not. Of course, nothing compared poor, but for in some Europe perspective, maybe it's very small house, apartment, very, very, sharing the kitchen and toilet. And this one has it's a small kitchens, make a pancake, and we are laughing and talking and many things is together make like a how do you say, pancake, cheese. So joyful, so happy. And like this kind of, when you have simple life, simple is like kindness, compassion, atmospheres, it's extremely different. Like this. And I would to say, if you practice entirely Dharma, life is happy, next life happy, it's going more and more happy. That I want to say like this. Now, next one is next chapter is the fear of the losing loved ones, and like this, of course, sometimes we stick each other, love each other, and it doesn't matter you live together or not live together, and sometimes mentally is sometimes like kind of we have a good friend, good family, good sometimes societies. We have love them. This one is like all the time is we want to close, very much taking care each other. We don't want to separate. But sometimes this happened and we lose sometimes. For example, last time I saw is in an accident, and car accident. There's some inside many people, and then cast down. Then some inside the people died, some is coming. It's extreme suffering. It's like kind of cry. Why I'm happen like this? My love, my dear, my this kind of the lost now. Where can I go? What can I do? So, of course, like this kind of very much such too close to lose. Maybe brother and sisters like kind of sister, brothers, or to the parents to children, children to parents, or partners to partner. Like this kind of sometimes you have very strong link, very strong to connection, very strong kind of the love each other. This kind of sometimes you lose. This is a big suffering. We who live in this world of the samsara all feel attachment. For those with whom we like kind of the identified and hostility towards to the others. And here it says like, of course in the samsaric this world, someone is we have very much disattachment. We are like kind of identified, that is my family, that's my partner, that's my children, that's my parents. Very, very strong attachment, very strong clinging, very much kind of want to care. Even they sick, better to we want to sit. If there something happened, we want to be happen something bad. Like this kind of caring, worried, and like kind of the anxiety like this. And some in the world of the samsaras, we have identity, we say that is the hostility, my enemy. Yes, that's very bad. I want to really destroy. Therefore, like those are the others. This kind of like disattachment angers it. And the clinging aversion, like this kind of true thoughts is all the time towards to those family and enemies. And for the sake of our families, follower, compatriot, friend and loves, and kind of the like kind of impartialities or partialities, very much kind of we are filling into our families and our own societies, like more taking care in this like kind of. And then we want to like kind of such need to care to them. We say that is my friend, that is my lover, this is my kind of father, mother, sister, brother, and that's friend. And the kind of the love, we are the prepared to undergo all sort of the sufferings. And like a day and night, look, some is parents. I'm telling to you history. When I was in the South India, in the refugee campings, some in this Tibet settlement, and then it's there is like I have one other friend, one guy, and he sometimes make more. It's coming to me. They give me. That time they called Dankembo. I don't know it, but I told to the village people the word of my perfect teacher. And we are very much connected. Then once his wife is died, and then he come to me and we talk. And then he said, it's like, I haven't got much really to practice Dharma. And also it's like, in whole my life, I worked. And like he said, it's like I have 9 or 10 children. And then it's like first time I'm like they like run from Tibet, and when I am arrived in a Dharamsala, and then he said it's like he work very hardly. Per day is half ruble, and per month he has 15 ruble. And then this ruble and to need to survive his families. But that times he says ruble is quite strong, I can to make quite a good, but, and he said it's like more than the 10 or 15 years he works. And then a little bit changed, and be sit now, they don't need to work. And we sit, don't need to work, disturbed. And it's making disturb very much during the we are conversations and working. And like this, and this guy says, and after like the children's a little bit finished school, then some children can go to the America and Europe, and then this Tibetan government, it's like to live like this, they don't need to disturb. Where am I? Huh? I forgot it. Okay, forget it, this one. None of those with whom we have ties of the kin or the friendships can live forever, and soon or later we are found to be separated from themselves. And of course, it's like kind of we closer to the friend, families, and we done a lot of negative things in order to protect to them, in order to like a kind of help to them. But finally, everybody's sooner or later, we need to be separated from them. And the death process or the separation is occurring, that moment is very difficult to help each other. And those may be kind of the families is a kind of help a lot, done a lot of negative things, and then this doer of the negative things need to kind of deal with the own kind of the what you did, and then it's like you need to carry and continue to the next your life. But other families, difficult to share it is. They die or they are like kind of drive off to the other countries. Of course, when they are died, and then there is like kind of the want, we can to say it's more easy, draft off to the other country, means they kind of the want different country of the samsaras. And then it's like of course, this the who is going to die, maybe these persons still have this attachment. If I'm died, if I'm go to another like realms, or maybe countries, maybe probably my families, maybe they become cold, maybe they can become hungry, maybe they become sick, maybe they come. I need to protect to them. Have still kind of the like clingies. They are maybe threatened by the enemies, maybe rubble, burglars, and something, and other dangerous things still killing, and the suffering they undergo affect us for deeply than our own like kind of suffering. Sometimes when we have very strong attachment to the families, even the death process starts, And you don't think about your death process. You only stay thinking about your families. This kind of sometimes many happens. For example, sometimes many mothers is become the zombie and become the ghost, become the sometimes problems. Which kind of problems? For example, like some couples, they have children, many children, or doesn't matter, 2, 3, 1. And the mother, of course, father taking care. The mother is more attached to the children. And in this perspective, maybe certainly mother is sick. For example, look the Buddha Shakyamuni's mother. And after she make birth of the Buddha, and then is slowly she's weak. And then is finally 1 week after she knew that she's going to die. And then she says, like, of course, king maybe is good, and a king is like kind of the second wife is her sister. But maybe my sister is my son, is not really my sister's son. Maybe my sister is going to something I need to ask to her. And before she died, to ask to her, this is like my sister, I have to say something. Maybe I'm going to die. Looks like I'm big, but can you look after my son? But of course, this her sister's extraordinary. She says, "Don't say like this," and I will definitely say. And that is like, but she is going to die, but still she's kind of clinging to her son. And that's why I may say like this. Some wife is certainly something, mother is died. Then they concern to the children very much. It's maybe the children small. Maybe she thinks like, oh, what can I do my children? Maybe if I'm die, maybe my husband's to get another wife. Then they have stepmothers. Maybe stepmothers make a very much cruel torture to them. And then, of course, she is angry. Even sometimes the moment maybe her husband is wonderful, but she has anger, thinking about the futures. And then it's difficult, she die. Then it's like she concentrated thinking that she can't recognize her death. Sometimes really become the ghost. It's like cannot sometimes become a zombie, like she get up. Sometimes like kind of the ghost, because often come back because of her desire attachment, not desire attachment to the children's. Really, it is like, as I remember once is in Dzogchen, there is one young lady, she died. She has like 4 or 5 children. The husband is a little blah. And then it's like when she born last child, and she couldn't survive, she died. And then of course I think and they in Tibet sometimes we bring into the cemetery to sky bearing and vultures. And of course this like druva of the Chopa Lamas, they invited like number of the vultures. Sometimes they cannot count. Sometimes they can't control. Invited the 5 vultures, 10 vultures. They are waiting there. Then you can cut very nicely. They eat immediately. But then it's like sometimes problems. They don't want to eat because vultures' eyes can see problems. And then the Chopa Lamas is like making thumbs, and says the ones is like they are angry to the vultures. But certainly he's like kind of something message or something certain. He said it's like, I cannot give it, birds doesn't want to eat. Can you bring the husbands? And then other relatives was very scaring. Why we can't bring? And then you go to, and then they brought, then he said you need to make vows. And in the future you need to say take care children and never ever against something to stepmothers. You need to promise to take a vow. Vultures doesn't eat. You want to keep like this, your wife's Buddhism. And he was very much sad. He says, totally, until my children to grow up their own, like to build up the nest. I will look after this. He took engaged vows. Immediately the vultures to run to eat it. Like this kind of attach is very, very, very kind of strong. Like, for example, says like, if I'm died, but in the left my families, my children's, how much they have. During the day life, they never care, because too much we need to care to our families. And we do the so negative things in order to make a comfortable, to happy for our families, sake of our families. And the parents, now it's like there's more like kind of the details. That is like mother's situation. Especially care very much for their children, and are constantly worrying that they might be cold, if I'm die, if I'm disappeared, maybe my children become cold, maybe my children become hungry, maybe my children become thirsty, maybe they might feel like ill or die. And what can I do if I'm not there? This kind of, generally if they are alive, it's in their life. Indeed, they love their children to they like kind of point that they would rather die themselves than let them suffer. For example, parents is really so much caring. For example, like when is children too sick, like state children sick, even they want to spend their life, they die, they want to die. This kind of like caring. And then it's like parents, why we often to say the parents is a kind, parents is we need to repay mankind. Some parents is like father or mothers, whole life is work. And why you work? Because for our children. And last time it's like I saw in that one Africa, very sad. It's a one lady and the couple, they have like 3 or 4 children. They haven't got much to eat. And like a kind of small shelter in Africa. And then there's like parents are running to dig in the ground and to go to get some jobs. And they get a little bit kind of food, and something is the most they give to the like kind of the children's. And finally, the mother and the father both is sick and too weak. And then some is like helpers came to there. Maybe you need both of you take care to eat properly. Said, we cannot eat because we want to survive our children. Said, that much they are caring. It's really tears automatically coming because their parents so much take. They can whatever they need to do negative things in order to survive, in order to make comfortable their own children. They don't care. And like this, also sometimes also we do like a kind of when we have families and how much we done like kind of the negative things. Of course, it's maybe one part is a compassion, but one part is like kind of the samsaric families is like this. And also it's like they said indeed they love their children to the point that they would rather die themselves than let them suffer it. And for this sake suffering a great deal of anguish. And like a kind of, they have like such anguish because it's that they're dealing with this sort of the task, this kind of the like kind of worried attachment, and too much kind of the clinging to the family, too much kind of the detachment, and to the families, and then it's like they are not maybe sick, but they're sick worried. They may be very healthy, but they kind of all the time is afraid. It's like some parents, it's like all the time is, even the someone's call to them, they are pick up very freely. Why? Because maybe someone say me, it's a negative news. Maybe your children something. They say this something, yes, okay. I'm afraid. Maybe it's like you send me. Like this kind all the time is worried. And like this, they kind of the sufferings. This is the truth. But of course, although we are suffering too much from this deed, dread of the being separate from the friend and the relative we love, we should think about it very, very carefully. And therefore, this kind of our human like kind of the sufferings, when we are really too much too linked, if we like kind of separate, then it's how much they sufferings. Therefore, it's like I say, it's like this coronavirus. And of course, last there's someone's questions. Maybe coronavirus is good. So that make me very much sad. Of course, they didn't hit it to us. For example, I say it's in Dharma City, our like whoever live here, very healthy, no problem. And we can to say it's a nice coronavirus because we don't need to go to job, we don't need to go outside, we can just stay inside and make a party, drink, we are not sick. Then it's like those lost peoples, how much they problems. For example, maybe some families, they can stay at home 1 day, 2 days, 1 week. More than that, cannot. In America, they say it's like living or dying. Like they're kind of struggling. And they are not kind of, maybe it's like happy to run outside, but they have problems. They die hungrily at home or they die through this sickness. Of course, they lost their families, children, grandparents, whoever, left families, how much is suffering. Who has died, how much is sufferings. Of course, this is like kind of we do not understand them. Like kind of these families, those problem family situations is very much dark, very much kind of the hell situations. Those lost one is lost. They died people is a very, very aggressively died. And before die is almost like experience is the hell. And then is those who left someone is how much they are missing for they like went or died these families. Of course, it's like this. It's like whoever lost families, we are suffering 100%. Maybe one day you experience like this. And that time is coronavirus. Coronavirus is horrible. It's like kind of, and this, of course, it's like someone is, okay, you can to stay, some is lamas, some is like practitioners. Seat is in the seat. Okay, you have food, you have... Myself, I have food, I have everything, making delicious drink, like kind of the holiday. And then it's, thanks, coronavirus. Not thanks, sorry. And you are quite lucky, but others is not lucky. They have bigger problems. Last time it's like since the holiness says, okay, I'm in the kind of the retreat, but of course not necessarily to run from the coronavirus. Maybe he's not afraid for the death. Absolutely nothing. Maybe holiness, there's some things I worried, but kind of like we need to him. And in this perspective, he says, a little sad. I'm like, okay, everything is okay, but maybe those who problems, like, for example, some you rich, some you have like high position, like a minister. For example, British, these prime ministers, he got it, but how much doctors they caring in the hospital, day and night, there is like kind of, they are lucky, and then they are not died. But some poor people, nothing kind of, even in the hospitals, during the day sick, 1 week, 2 weeks, they couldn't get the bed. They cannot go. Then they dying. They sad, they angry, and they cannot go to. Who can to take care? Even though sometimes it says like, we cannot care you, you need to die at home. Wow, very suffered. You go to the hospital, like sometimes it says like, okay, you are a little bit old, we cannot care you. And there's a little young, we need to take care of them. Very sad, very much partialities. And this kind of one you heard, if you this kind of be situations, are you happy? 100% surely not. It doesn't matter you old or young. Everybody wants to more survive, more live to in this world. And like this is to treat also like very important partially. But anyway, like this. And how to say it's like when we lost something families, that is like a big our sufferings. And we need to think about it very, very carefully. We need to analyze like this. And also it's like sometimes it's, humans very much clinging to the position and the things, a little bit kind of the problems like brothers, sisters, or the children's parents, or maybe it's relative, neighborhood, nations. And then they are like, there's nothing kind of peace, comfort, dialogue, and only actions, they're killing each other. Who is strong like this? But as you kill to others, how much those families is suffering. Therefore, very much think about very carefully to say, yeah, very nice. Can we be like so sure that our dear ones are as dear as we think? And sometimes we have such a desire attachment towards our family, friend, children, parents. But sometimes dear as not really dear. Sometimes they can to murder you. They can to kill you. They can to destroy to you. They can make maybe also sometimes so make trouble to use it. That's what we need to. And sometimes when we think about the enemies, sometimes it's like really to analyze the enemies, sometimes not the enemy. Enemy is the best helper. Maybe according to the enemies, we become enlightenment. Like a kind of someone's provoke you, someone's make angry you. Maybe you practice patience and love, compassion, kindness. Maybe then it's the provokers and it kind of give you such a path. You become the enlightenment. Provoker is nothing a result, but you have. Like Jetsen Malaripa said. Jetsen Malaripa is like he provoked by this uncle and aunties. And they don't provoke to him. Maybe he's like kind of, how do you say, it's like a normal person. And later when he says, I appreciate very much my worst enemy of my uncle and the aunties. If they don't provoke to me, maybe I'm an ordinary person. But according they provoked, then I was angry. I did some negative things, but I understood that. Then I need to follow Dharma. Finally, according there, I may be enlightened man. And like this, it's sometimes enemies, not enemy. Enemy is the best helper. And sometimes the friend is not a friend. And maybe worst, like kind of troublemakers. Now there's examples you can to look. For instance, our parents generally we can to say is very important. Claiming to the love as their children. Of course they love, they all the time taking care of you. But their way of the loving is misguided. Misguided. They love very much, but they haven't got much wisdoms. Sometimes they misguided. And has an effect that is ultimately very much harmful. Which kind of harmful? By trying to give us wealth, sometimes it's a due. Some parents are very rich, and then they'll all the times give to children. And give. Sometimes children become very much spoiled. and whatever they need to do, and they never study, they don't need to work, they don't need to care others, and become very bizarre. But anyway, other things also possible. They give wealth and property, get us married, and they arrangement to a marriage. And some rich, powerful. It is a little bit kind of funny, you know. It's maybe, I would probably, I'm not sure, but it's in Jashika there is one very, very rich and families married. Inconceivable it's their marriage. So many thousand like kind of guests, and it's like they marriage car, you know, we have Europe, it's like a longer, like inside the TV, it's like, how do you say, very funny cars. How do you call? Oh, a museum, I don't know. Okay. But it looks like this, there's one rent a car, is maybe they bought in China. A double, probably 10 meters, I'm not sure. It's like this, outside decorations, inside. And this kind of, okay, fantastic, nice marriage. And how much decoration, how much spend money, how much they did. Looks like a wonderful, but all those cost. Maybe if understood these couples, and maybe is collected to help to the poor people, maybe to something, maybe more. And last time is like very much heated to me is our president called the Pokatocha. We put the Dharma wheels, and after look Pokatocha, Pokatocha is the Dharma city president. And now wonderful says, are you happy? I ask, yes, wonderful. Look, this cost almost the same as this red cars. But you buy the red cars, a car, and like this, up to one person. And also it's like this. This one is how much is valuable, how much is benefit. It's a truth, really. It's absolute truth. And also I told you last time, it's like this lady's got the piece of the butter. If she eat to share to the children, it's nothing, but she used it for the valuable way. Maybe those marriages is millions almost they spend, maybe money. And like this, I heard there's one India couple, younger couple, rich families, children. They came to married in Paris, and they invited many family from India, in Europe, many business. They said it's a few $1 million they spent it. And it's okay, one married. But if these millions is like dollars, if you can to spend in India, how many there's poor people, they lack of food, drink. But it's like this, okay, some parents say it's very important to marry it. Then they are like kind of the tiny samsaric holder on us. Maybe there's children, they don't want to marry, maybe they don't want to do it, but parents say, oh yes, very important. This is like samsaric perspective. We want to arrange for you, sir. And also it's like sometimes children, if the parents say, oh yes, I'm waiting for the grandchildren. You need to nice to marry, to successful husband or wife, and to have become rich, big car, big house, and like a powerful that parents expecting, and like kind of like this, and to get us like this, holding on us, very much tidy ups. Afterwards, the children need to look after all these things. Maybe they build a very big house, maybe bought a big car, maybe like this. Teach us everything we need to how to get the better of our adversity, and adversaries. And kind of the adversity means it's like kind of the how you combine that. And it's connected to the samsaric kind of way, how you can take care of your families, and how you can to like destroy your enemies, how you can to cheat to others, how you can to make business, and how you can to like kind of make a fool to the others. So this sort of samsaric things they give to education to the children. And it says like how to take care of your friend, how to get rich, to become the very successful, or the other harmful, our self-action, that will just to make sure that we stay inseparability tap in the low realms. Of course, they kind of completely bed up the path of the samsaric way. And of course, they kind of their perspective is really very, very important. But this is we call the misguided like this kind of. Maybe it's like a kind of the good parents. They say this. Maybe if you practice more dharma, it is the wonderful. It's please to practice this. Your responsibilities. Okay, maybe it's like we can to make rich you. We can make to give samsaric educations. Maybe this kind of the make worse your life. This make you more receive the sufferings. Then it's like a kind of the why. Like I say in Tibet, there's one parent has one daughter. And then she's quite beautiful. Their parents want to give some very rich families. And then the parents arranged. Of course, she doesn't want to go to there. And then they said, you cannot reject the parents' the suggestions. You should go to there, you married, then your life is comfortable, you have females, and you have families, ring, I don't know, ranks or something is very worldly, very important. But she hated to go there. And then finally they arranged, they give, and she went there one day, and she cannot bear there. And she ran, and these rich families want to catch to her. And of course, sometimes when they catch, they beat. They can say, we already kind of bought you, say. No choice, like kind of prison. This system, ancient sisters, ugly, this kind of. And then she's so much suffering, she ran. They couldn't catch, and she jumped into the rock, into the river. She died. And now it's like in talking so much. It's a wonderful talk. Why the parents to arrange like this? But parents says, we are out doing best. Which kind of best? And because maybe we think her life is wonderful, or maybe she become the successful, she become nice lives, but not. Maybe she needs to go to her. Doesn't matter which kind of she can to get. If she is happy, it doesn't matter. Poor or middle, it don't need to care. Parents is like kind of the very different ways, not good. This kind of sometimes misguided parents also they do like this kind of. They in this perspective they are not very kind. Finally, they kind of destroyed your life, and it's like kind of the put in the continuation of the samsara. They would not do worse than that. They cannot do worse than that. Who can to do it? And as for I don't know. Yeah, I think it's the okay. We break half an hour.